our next session for the day on rethinking the future of newsrooms. How ready are we with our virtual technology transformations? Many points comes to our minds when we think about that, like the future of newsroom post-pandemic. How are newsrooms adapting to remote technology? Shaping the newsroom with the latest technology. The impact of new technology on the news production process. Need for professionals to reshape the future of the newsroom. Maintaining a good workflow in the newsroom with the use of digital technology. Also, how to use virtual technology and its best practices. And to answer all these questions or to talk on these points, we have with us our esteemed set of panelists. First of all, would like to welcome on stage Mr. Anil Ayroor, who is the Group COO, 24 News and Flowers TV GEC. Can we have you on stage, sir? With a huge round of applause. We have Mr. Rahul Goyal, who is the Regional Sales Manager, SAARC, Malaysia and Thailand. Dalet Digital Media Systems, Please welcome on stage, sir. Along with him, we have Ms. Vandna, who is the Television Editor, BBC Indian Languages, BBC World Service India. Can we have you on stage, ma'am, please? And to chair this session, we have Mr. Anil Vanwari, who is the Founder, CEO and Editor-in-Chief, IndianTelevision.com Group. Please welcome, sir.
Guys, the hotel. Yeah.
Yes.
Is there anyone else coming on stage?
Yes, I was just announcing that two of our esteemed panelists and speakers are joining us virtually. Mr. Raoul Cospen, Director of Business Development, EMEA and APAC, Dalet Digital Media Systems. Can we have him virtual? Along with him, we have Mr. S. Biju, Executive Editor, Asianet News. Can we have his video here? Please welcome, sir. Can we have a loud round of applause for all our esteemed dignitaries who are on stage and who have joined us virtually. Along with that, would like to announce that Mr. Vijayant Kumar, Chief Technology Officer, Zee Media Corporation Limited, could not make it today to Delhi because he's not well due to the medical emergencies. He could not join us today. So over to you, sir. Anil, sir.
Okay, I'm going to actually begin by asking my international guest, what are the newsrooms looking like internationally today now? What are you seeing, the changes, the trends that are developing?
Have you today to be here with you remotely from the French Alps, actually. So indeed, we have seen, and I come also from a European and American perspective. I'm going to try to explain the different trends we see in newsroom, and I guess there are profound changes that have been really accelerated by the pandemics. So I think it's obvious for everyone that remote work has become a usual practice, and it's not only about the broadcast industry or newsrooms, it's something which is pretty general, and tools that you can use from everywhere, tools that you can use collaboratively with your colleagues has become a must for news production. And in fact, if you think about it, the news doesn't happen in the newsroom, it happens on the field, outside, and this is where you want to be. So new tools that you can use from anywhere, you're on an NRCS in your production system that you can use from anywhere with no compromise on functionality. New collaborative tools has been really something that is trending very hard. And people are adopting also planning systems. We have seen a lot Trello around and those kind of tools, as well as Microsoft Teams or Slack, to facilitate the communication and the collaboration. And this is the kind of thing that we are really working on at Dalet with the new offering called Dalet Pyramid. This is encompassing basically those new requirements.
On the India side, I'm going to ask my guest, what are the changes you're seeing in India? Raoul, I'll come to you later. Yeah. What are the changes you're seeing in terms of newsrooms, and is virtual becoming more, AR becoming more? We'll come to the AR part later, but let's ask you, what are the trends you're seeing?
See, we talk about this news industry way back from Doordarshan. It started with half-an-hour news, and it...
Can you hold the mic closer?
Yeah. And it come right now to 24-hour news. And we got more than 300 news channels in India. So why we talk about news as a television? why you are not talking about radio? So television is all about visual. So visual has to be told in a different narrative. So whether now in India it's around 5 window, 10 window, 16 window debate is happening. So it's an era of triple R and KGF. Why this Indian cinema has changed so far and why the Indian television history is not changing. So the narrative has to be different. So today the demand is more. No, you have to tell the story in a narrative mode, not in a reporting way. People are not interested in that. So the earlier discussion, what we are showing here, they were debating in a different matter. No, news content is most important, but how it has to be told in a truthful way is most important. For that, technology is most important. The most important technology has to be adopted, and I think our India is far behind in that area.
Okay. Where do you see the limitations? You've been working in India, Rahul. Where do you see the limitations?
Well, I would start saying that, before the session was like a little different, and this session is more on the technology side, but it is very, very going to be interesting because this enables them to tell the news outside, right? So I would request everyone to listen it very carefully and, focus. On the Indian side, what I see, people or broadcasters, they went to the latest software, but the way they still manage the story, they still they produce the story, the way they acquire the media, the way they acquire or manage or do the editing or all the play out or the distribution is the same way, even though they are on the latest software. So what I believe, we need to break those silos and make them more unified. So what is the advantage of having a unified software? Will allow you to do pretty much everything that you have to do in the newsroom, starting from filing a story, then writing a script, then maybe editing a video, maybe sending it for the approval, and maybe our editor-in-chief is sitting in different location, so we want to allow him to approve or even track the story while he's away and not in the newsroom, and then produce different versions of the story. The different versions of the story is more like, you have one version which is going into the linear TV. The second version could be on the social media. And those versions could have their own aspect because sometimes, you have the long forms, you have the short forms. So idea, I would say, has to change from those silos towards the unified.
India, you're saying they're still siloized.
Yeah, there's still silos. They're not all the broadcasters, but most of them, yes. They're still silos.
Okay. Vandna, you work with the BBC, which is probably with Red B and all the different technology that you all come out with. You're one of the more evolved broadcasters. So
I would like to believe so.
yeah, you all are. I mean, I'm not stating it as a sarcastic comment, but as a matter of fact. So how do you all function in terms of, you were mentioning earlier that there is, you have a digital feed, you also have to be able to serve something on digital, which is broadcast feed, combining with digital. So what's your scenario like, your workflow like?
So just to give you a context, so BBC, it's completing 100 years. So you can see it's a 100-year-old journey of innovation. Started as a radio first, and then it was known for its broadcast. And now the template is moving towards digital first. So we're doing all three streams. And I think the challenge, as you have rightly mentioned, that yes, the technology is there, especially the pandemic has really changed the world in terms of, we had to upgrade to the newer technologies all of a sudden. So I think what we are working towards it, is there a way where TV, which is still a very important and integral part of the audience's, viewing pattern, and as well as digital, if you go by, certain surveys over the last 1 year, so a lot of people in India are consuming TV, but they are not consuming it on the traditional TV set. They are viewing through live stream, YouTube, through TV apps. So what we are working towards is that, is there a way to marry the two? For example, for the last 3 years, the BBC has been running what is called digital TV. So it's amalgamation of the best of the TV content that we produce and the best of the digital content that we produce, and it's streamlined over a cloud-based playlist, which The person doesn't have to even sit in India. It can be it can be any part of the country. So this is an experiment that we are doing to bring the best of the TV technology and the best of the digital and marry the two in some form.
Now, Biju, as far as Asianet is concerned, it's one of the leading news broadcasters in the South. What is your workflow like? If you could share with us, and how evolved are you on the value chain as per what Rahul and Raoul were saying? Both the Raouls were saying.
Okay, thank you for letting me speak into this session. First of all, the modern situation has changed the workflow pattern of the newsroom. For example, the recent developments where Russia has invaded Ukraine. Normally, though some of Indian news channels has sent their reporters to Ukraine, when the actual war or invasion has started, they have to exit that place. And in fact, for example, for us, for the Asianet news, what we have depended is student community acting as citizen journalist and reporting the gruesome realities of the war. But after some time, they were all evacuated, and so there is a vacuum of reporting from that side. Then came the automation angle. For example, the Ukraine invasion has become a game changer for the war reporting. Rather than humans reporting from the sites, including our channel and all across the globe, news media has depended very much on the satellites to get information. For example, the synthetic aperture radar technology that has evolved in the new generation satellite, which permits beaming images even on night and rough weather days. So you are getting real information on what is happening in the war front. It's a it's a remote sensing technology which is bringing new developments to the newsrooms, and with that there is a new breed of people who has emerged in the newsroom apart from the conventional roles in the newsroom. For example, data analyst, and also there are a lot of new medias has also emerged. For example, one conflict news from Wales, UK has emerged, and they were giving, there's a lot of university supported, universities like Cambridge and Oxford, and the data scientists from there supporting the newsroom with real-time analysis of news developments happening. So, tomorrow, the newsrooms have to, in fact, today itself, we have to be prepared to bring a lot of new talents into the newsrooms, non-conventional talents into the newsrooms. And, tomorrow, the newsrooms will be dominated by people who have data analytical skills, and also coders, and those who have understanding of algorithms and machine learning and artificial intelligence.
I get that, but in terms of, are you working on octopus machines? Are you working? What is your entire news flow, technology news flow workflow?
We have ENBS for newsroom control system, as well as we use Vijayant for the online graphics.
Anil, what about you all?
We use a couple of integrated softwares like Kartavya, Gracefully, as well as Vijayant, AR and VR and on-air graphics.
Okay.
I agree with Viju also against the new talents that has to be coming, that we understand the new data analytics and algorithms and AI also. So basically, I just wonder, even when I'm in newsroom, I keep wondering how this editorial team can keep an eye on three parts, especially when you come to India. It's not related to in Europe or US. We have so many breaking news, law third, the news reporting and the text, everything is coming. So one editorial team can't control the whole news. You have at least, I need 3 editorials to control the newsroom in India. So I don't know the technology from Europe or US, how can it can solve this issue in India. Because whatever I see, this is all these technologies, that is not actually not understanding the demands of India. So do you understand that? You have a lower third, so somebody is controlling that lower third, is going there, and you have a reporting
Yeah,
from
but,
text.
but these are minor points.
This,
What's
but
happening?
this matters.
Matters.
Some wrong policy matters can go on air.
Okay.
So technology, what are you talking about technology? So now, right now, when you said you are covering a video, now that video has only a 20 or 10% of the portion of the screen. Where you in BBC, if you understand, that may be shown in full screen, and this is just sticker is there.
That's on the graphics side, but I'm
No,
talking
not the
about
graphic side. I'm talking about why it's not about the graphic side. It's about the character, how the Indians transform to television. Earlier there was paper, then radio came, then there was listening was there. Then we're converting to the viewership. The viewership pattern is there. So there is a behavioral change is there. We should understand that, and the news should be told very truthfully only. So you should combine all these technologies and the content, and it should be adaptive to Indian culture. So we cannot anywhere in the world you cannot compare the news channels from India.
No, I get it. But if you look at integrated newsrooms, which I will come to, Rahul and Anil, as well as Biju, as well as the other Raoul and Vandna. So like she was saying, they're getting into integrated newsrooms. People are not just watching television these days. They're watching also on Facebook, they're watching on YouTube, they're watching segments on BBC, they have small little clips. So there are various modes. So, you know, by just focusing on broadcast, aren't you restricting your viewership?
No, that's what I'm good that you pointed it out. Say from my region, so there are around 97 lakhs homes connected to the television by cable or DTH. It's a very clear data right now between digital. The fact is that out of this 97 lakhs, almost 12 lakhs people are connected with fiber. So when we connected with fiber, you don't need a satellite channel or a cable channel to access the network. Whether you view it in YouTube or you have to, whether it's mobile or anything, you can view it all the content in the TV. So right now, the technology changes the broadcast. The distribution platform may change, but the content remains there.
Sure.
The content will be the king.
Yeah, okay. Raoul, come in, please. When I talked about IP delivery, broadcast delivery, your company is offering great solutions which actually allows newsrooms to be fully integrated for almost every platform. And why are the Indian companies not looking at that so strongly? Or are they?
So basically, I'll start with giving, because what pandemic has done with us, is the way we were communicating and we are communicating now, or interacting now has changed. And, there was a time when everyone from the entire newsroom has to work from their home. And, when we talk about newsroom, it's not a one-man show, as Anil rightly said, like number of people are involved. So we need to also make sure when they're working remotely, they should feel they're working from the same room. And the editorial guy, they are able to track whatever is happening inside it. So this integrated newsroom allow all those factors. What most of the technology or the broadcaster have done in the past was using the traditional way of providing access. For example, one of the standard ways VPN. So they provided the VPN and they were able to access. But when they access, think of having three systems. One is newsroom, second is news production, third is maybe you want to access the library, the archive library. So you have to always switch the interface. So it's a very tedious job, for someone to always shift from interface to interface. Having an integrated interface will allow you to file the story, find the video, and as Biju sir also rightly said, there is machine learning and AI into the picture. So what we have done, we have developed something called Dalet pyramid. And this allows the AI to be integral part of the newsroom. So the moment you start filing the story, it will automatically, find the right videos, the right previous story, which was done 2 years back in front of you. It will start finding the Wikipedia links for you. It will start finding the right voiceover for you. So it's like empowering journalists. We want to make user more autonomous, I would say, so that they have more power. And the only way it can happen is by experiencing the new interface. So the moment, let's say Vandna is experiencing a new interface, so she becomes our advocate, and she becomes an advocate of new technology, even not us, okay, new technology. Let's make it very generic, right? And the second factor, which is very, very important in an entire news room technology or latest technology, is the technical directors, because they are also one of the, one of the major, I would say, decision maker in the entire chain, right? We need to make sure that they are happy. So to help them, what we did, the integrated system helped them to only maintain one system instead of maintaining like 3 or 4 systems, right? So it reduced their headaches. It brings a lot of, peace of mind. And then the third, which is also very important, is the CFO. So you have to make your CFO happy, right? You have to reduce the price of overall solution. And this is the driver. This is the, again, key decision-making authority. So by having all those things in place with integrated manner, help you to decrease the price. And I heard you in the beginning, subscription is the way forward. And these business solutions actually help you to, invest less, like having a very low initial investment, and then maybe, scale up whenever you need. So a typical scenario, which is, I believe everybody will agree to it today, whether it is Asianet or, Flowers TV or anyone, whenever they are sizing a system, they're sizing for a peak, which is 8 to 9 show, or maybe when there's some election which is happening, right? So whenever I'm sizing for a peak, I'm already investing a lot of money. I'm investing money on the furniture, I'm investing money on the technology, and I'm investing money on the back office, right? So this subscription model, this SaaS model, is going to reduce a lot of headaches, because you can scale up whenever there's an election or whenever there is a peak, and it scales down, right? So those are the aspects I think is very important in coming future, and that will also help different broadcasters to select the right technology.
I'm going back to Raoul. You're in the Alpine region of France, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
correct.
So
correct.
fabulous. So the earlier version, he talked about pyramid. You had the earlier version, and Dalet has many solutions. How have the broadcasters in Europe and in America used the solutions, and in Asia, use the solutions that you offer to actually improve the lives and improve, the turnaround times and bring down overhead? What has their experience been?
Yes. Actually, relating to what I just heard, it's true that Indian has is specific, but there are commonalities between all the regions of the globe. And I heard 2 things that are really, really important in news. The first one is the use of digital platform others than just television. And I think it's important to give different perspectives to your stories. They are not consumed the same whether they are on television or on different social media or digital platforms. And you also have to deal with different audiences, meaning that young people, they usually want to consume, short pieces of news, and maybe, adult audience need longer pieces of news and so on. So it's really about giving those different perspectives to your stories. And so in fact, there is a new concept that we call in the industry storytelling 360, which is a way to keep your story together. So when you give those different versions to different platforms, you always need to find very easily your source material. This is super important. And usually this is hard for a journalist to say, okay, I have my TV clip finished. Am I still there? Okay. I have my TV clip finished, and now I need to do a digital version. And very often journalists complain that they can't find the source material. So storytelling 360 is really solving those kind of problems. And the other issue that you've got is, as you mentioned also earlier, is you've got so many sources of material coming over. and you've got these satellite links, of course, but you've got also more and more backpacks. I guess you start to use them heavily, like in Europe and in the US. And these backpacks allows you to really accelerate, the delivery, the turnaround for your stories, because actually you start the production while the shooting is being done. So it's the production and the shooting is now happening at the same time. So you parallelize tasks and you can deliver much faster. I think this is two of the important things, and there is probably a third thing, is when you've got more and more news sources like we have today, we need to verify the sources. Okay, we need to make sure that this is real sources, this is true sources, especially when we browse through social media. And there is a new concept, a new initiative driven by Microsoft, New York Times, BBC, France Télévisions, and others, which is called C2PA. And if you browse through c2pa.org, you will find out about this. I think this is going to be very important for our future as well. Just making sure that we understand what the source of the media is, and that we can authentify the media that we deliver. So pretty much this is what we are doing. These are the three topics we are really focusing on, making the digital production part of the standard workflows, and have the ability to go digital first, and have the ability to merge, to combine the TV, the radio, and the digital teams together into one team.
So, Biju, maybe what he's saying is correct. Are you addressing all the media outlets that Raoul said that which can be addressed and then be monetized? Similar to Anil, are you focusing only one element of your business, which is restricting your monetization models, your abilities as broadcasters? And because
we are also facing a situation, where our primary focus is on television as far as revenue is concerned. We have a lot of digital platforms where we repurpose the content or simulcast the things. But, a proper revenue model is yet to emerge as far as digital platforms are concerned. In the television side or the cable side, your revenues, are certain, it's assured. But unfortunately, as far as digital platforms are concerned, there is multiplicity. Every day, new platforms are emerging. So in order to reach our content on all these platforms is a heavy task. And, often it's not worthy to reach to all these platforms. So we have to be selective. Revenue sharing models, unfortunately, are not happening from the digital platforms. From many of the digital platforms in nations like India, where there are not good regulatory mechanisms. As far as European nations or Americas or Australia, there are strong media regulatory commissions which ensures that the revenues generated by these platforms are shared to the content makers. So now that's one big issue we have to understand, and we have to find a solution. The next thing is, since we have to deliver to multiple digital platforms, especially for a country like India, where you speak a lot of languages, a lot of ethnicities within a nation, and so many of the channels and networks, including ours, have multi-language broadcast or teams. So we have to reach all these things. In that area, we are looking for automations, where, unfortunately, as Anil has pointed, for the Indian specific situations, the technologies are not happening properly. I don't blame anybody, because if it is on English or European languages, they can reach a lot of people. So maybe the developers may find it worthy to develop technologies that suits those areas. Okay.
Vandana, you're not facing that problem because you're in multiple languages.
Yes.
So are you facing a similar problem in terms of the technical workflow and the entire tech which is needed to be able to work in that direction? And then I'll come to you and ask you your solutions for that.
So, as far as languages, expertise, the editorial expertise in a language is concerned, I think that's not a problem. I think there's a problem of plenty in that case because there's a rich talent pool of people who know the language, who know the journalism they do. I think what is needed is the next level that, yes, like for example, in the BBC is in 6 Indian languages. So I think editorially we are up there. What is needed as the next level is what can technology do to help us reach more and more audiences, because as reports show, the growth is not as much in English as it is in the vernacular languages. So I think our next challenge is that how do we take our journalism with the help of technology, not just to a person sitting in a Mumbai or a Chennai or a Bangalore, but actually make it more diverse. As I think Biju sir was referring earlier, that it matters that we have, just if I can bring the conversation to a very fundamental level, we are talking about technology of all sorts of, he mentioned AI and all of that, but what is the purpose? The purpose is to tell stories of real people, stories which are factual, stories that impact us, and the stories should be diverse. It cannot be that story of me sitting in a metro city. It should be the story of people of different gender, people of different religion, different caste, ethnicities. So I think that is where the technology can aid, and Rahul can elaborate more that how can you can enable us with the help of technology to reach us more and more people.
It's over to both the Raouls, the Rahul in India and the Raoul in sunny Alpine France.
Yeah, so it's a very important question, and when it comes to the technology reaching out different platforms, because the moment you are reaching out different platforms, you are already reaching different audience, right? And the second point, whenever let's say there's a new platform in place today, maybe something else comes up and you want to hook it up in your existing chain of digital distribution, then how easy is it for the technology team of broadcasters to enable those kind of streams, right? So this is where you need something called microservice model. And this microservice model is the one, it's a modern technology. We adopted this technology to make sure that whenever you have a story and you want to produce multiple versions of the story, one of the good example is Euronews in France. In fact, Raoul Cospen can talk about it. They create different 14 versions of the same story, and they have different editors. So the story is floated automatically to different assignment desk or different journalists or editors. So I think the traditional way of doing news is more rundown centric. I assume like everybody will agree to this, because this is how the news is getting produced in India, and I think outside a little bit as well. Maybe Rahul can talk about again on this. But we have to, if we want to achieve something like this, we have to move to planning-centric approach. So this planning-centric approach will allow you to create a story directly from the assignment desk, and this story can create multiple versions. Those versions are not only for different TV channels, but also for different digital channels. But if you do the same thing, opposite, you create a story in rundown. Rundown is not so much compatible with the digital distribution, because in today's world, if you go to any broadcaster, they do have a TV division, they do have a digital team, and what they do, they really, most of the time, they duplicate the material, they duplicate the scripts, they duplicate a lot of things, and there's a huge gap where they have to communicate with the TV guys, and then they have a digital production system which is completely separate. So we have to find a way to integrate both of them and find a best microservice to create something called Workflow Engine. This is what we've been using in the back office. So I'll not use a lot of technology word, but this is what we are using on the back office. It's called Bpm Workflow Engine. And this is used to create multiple versions of the story and allow you to transparently script whenever there is a new platform. So it becomes like, even for the technology team, it takes like few hours to configure a new platform whenever it comes in, as long as their APIs are exposed. That's how we are dealing this kind of challenge. And we indeed have a lot of reference around it.
Raoul, in sunny Alpine France, I wish I could be with you there. But the example of Euronews, which is what he stated, multiple 14 languages, 14 versions of the story. Are your products also very Indian language friendly, or are the characters only using Roman script, or are they using Indian the script Devanagari or the other scripts that they use in India?
Yes, indeed. First of all, it's sunny in France, that I can tell you, and indeed we are using Indian characters. Actually, we've got a newsroom in Australia called SBS. This is a public broadcaster, and they broadcast in 68 different languages, including a lot of dialects around the regions. And again, I hear, okay, we need to create many different versions of the stories, but also in different languages for different people, and so we need pretty much different voiceovers, voice dubbings potentially, or we can deal with captions. And when it comes to digital, also Euronews or everyone else will tell you, if you want to make your news story successful on digital platforms, it needs to be graphic intensive, it needs to be well decorated with captions, but also with the narration scripts and so on, so I can watch the video without having to necessarily listen to the sound. So having this extra layer of graphics is also one of the key challenges. So we need to deliver different versions, shorter, longer, more or less documented. We need to deliver extra graphics. We need to deliver that in different languages. And of course, we don't have much money for this. We are all under financial pressure. So we can't afford, to have 5 different people working on the same story and this kind of things. So we need to automate as much as we can these kind of processes. Okay. So there are a number of technologies around AI, AI can help you to do captions, can help you to translate captions. We also have the ability to, deal with what we call the templated graphic production. So rather than creating pieces of graphics and put metadata to those graphics so we can display well potentially in different languages and so on, we use this notion of digital scripts. So digital scripts is a bit like a TV scripts, but it's templatized, so you've got text on screens and so on. So for a journalist, he can write the actual narration directly on the Word document, and that's going to be automatically transformed into graphics. So that's the beauty of it. And then the translation process and this kind of things is so easy. So as a journalist, I can now produce so many different versions and really lower the amount of time that I'm going to spend on a given story. Because again, we can't afford to add a lot of extra costs to our actual story. So that's the point of having this storytelling 360 with all the tools that goes with it.
What's the imperative for broadcasters to move in this direction where they look at, Biju was complaining that monetization models are not there across all digital platforms. But isn't it imperative that my company has started making money across digital platforms, by the way. We run one of the largest entertainment portals in the country. We are making money off Facebook. We are making money off YouTube. We are making money off, yes, the CPMs are falling, but we are making money. And we are making money off a lot of the other short video platforms. And there is programmatic advertising available. So the companies in Europe which have moved towards that, one, why is it imperative that people move towards that? 5G is coming in, more and more video consumption is happening on handphones, more and more video consumption is happening on computers, and even smart TVs are coming in. So why is it so important that they move towards this integrated solution that you're offering? Is this the reason what I've stated? Is that why they should move towards that for the future?
That's one of the reasons. There are 2 reasons why there are 2 axes to improve your bottom line. First of all, you need to minimize the production costs, and the second solution is to maximize the revenue. And obviously, there are multiple sources of revenues. Not only, not everybody having the same kind of financial models, but you know, subscription-based consumption starts to be trending, at least in Europe and in the US. Okay, so that's a new source of revenue that also allows newsrooms to have pressure to go higher in terms of quality. But obviously, the more you go to different digital platforms, the more you have the opportunity to sell little more advertisement here and a little more there, and a little more there. So there are ways to monetize the content that you publish on different digital platforms.
Let me ask Vandna a question, then you can step in again. Are you all beginning to monetize better, or are you just, you're a commercial corporation, your funding from government is reducing over the years, your license fees are going down, etc. So are you all beginning to monetize better because you're serving different digital outlets?
That's very important because model was very different, and now funding model is going to change. So I think what the debate right now is that what is the direction are we going to take? Are we going to be A first instead of TV first? And then if it's digital first, then is the BBC ready to really go down the monetization? I think this is a debate that is happening internally, and I think given the circumstances we are in, we'll have to come to a conclusion.
You're monetizing on digital because of the various outlets.
Yes.
And your revenue has increased over time as you're monetizing more and more on digital as well as broadcast. It's adding a layer of extra revenue.
Broadcasting in the way BBC's Indian languages broadcast, it's syndicated TV. So it's most like an arrangement with the partner station where we're providing them, say, a half an hour content bulletin, and they are providing us the airspace. Mostly as simple as that. Digital is different. There are modes and there are avenues of monetization, but it's not at the space and place where probably the other rival or competitors are.
Yeah. So now you've heard this now. There are monetization models possible. Are you becoming a laggard? Will you be left behind in the race as IP becomes even? The government is pushing digitization very quickly and very fast. With 5G coming in, life is going to change. So will you be one of the laggards, or will you be one of the persons who will actually proactively, both you and Biju, would proactively get ready for this?
So definitely, I think not only my network, most of the network in India itself is proactive, and they are into digital. In fact, the time itself, broadcast and digital doesn't arise at all, because even everything now is digital. In the production itself, in digital. So even the satellite is, we don't need a satellite to broadcast right now.
Okay.
So now.
So why not have an integrated newsroom? I'm just curious. Why have silos?
Because based on economic factors, when you buy for the.
Isn't that the lower cost of earlier going to be more expensive because of manpower cost, because of power consumption, etc., all of that coming together? Instead of building for the future, why are we living in legacy?
No, it's a so fast changing in technology. Like I'm coming from straight from Broadcast Asia in Singapore. They came
there too.
Yeah. So I just they came and I saw there 2 days back. Is where you don't need a backpack. You just need a tab where you can live stream to YouTube, Facebook, as well as to the network. And you can as well as switch the cameras as well in a single cam.
About production on the cloud, basically.
So it comes that much down, and at 10th of the cost of a backpack right now. So the technology is so fast changing. You have to adopt that. So the amount of money we invested in so far is going waste. So
you'll have to reinvent. Biju, what about you? Don't you have to reinvent yourself? About time you reinvented yourself. And how can you as Dalet come in and help them reinvent themselves? That's it, they know. And can Dalet help you all or no?
Yeah, good question. When we talk with Indian regional channels and organizations like BBC or Al Jazeera, such organizations, it's like comparing apples with oranges. So But I take a lot of clue from what Vandana said, Anil said, and both Rahul said. As Vandana said, content should be the key concern for any news organization. And for a state like ours, where we represent Asia and represent basically in a southern Indian states where people give a lot of, eyeballs for the content.
I'm going to interrupt you. I would like to interrupt you. I want to read in English what's going on in Kerala. I would like to know Asianet's in English, what perspective Asianet is putting out. I can't.
Okay, that's true because
you can go back into
that's
it.
a funny situation. So-called English news channels, they don't even get the ratings of, total number of viewership compared with many regional language channels. I don't call them vernacular; they are Indian language channels. Vernacular is a derogatory expression.
Yeah, but I would like to read what's going on in Kerala in English. I would like to read what Asianet is offering.
Of course, the automated systems will help us to deliver to the, for example, OTT platforms. A lot of Malayalam movies are now watched by people from other states and other countries thanks to the automated.
I could watch Muldi. I could watch that superhero film in Malayalam.
Pardon?
What's the superhero Malayalam film? The superhero one.
Yeah, not only the superhero films, a lot of parallel films that's happening in Malayalam are now getting watched by the people from other parts of the geographies. People who speak other languages, thanks to the new technologies, which gives automated subtitling and all those things. Like that, for the new scenario also, we would like to have that. But as Anil said, for us those who are in the local languages, the main problem, not only local languages, any Indian languages, including Hindi and English. So the problem is when you invest on technologies, it becomes obsolete after a few days or few months or few time, sometime. So the problem is, we get a lot of wastages happening when we invest for the technologies because the technology is emerging every day. And many big organizations like BBC and all, they can afford to have that. For example, I understand for the archive management, BBC has experimented with a lot of trial and error methods. I happen to be in their BBC's monitoring stations, which I got the first-hand knowledge about that. So, but for the regional channels or the low-income channels anywhere in the world, not only in India, that is a big issue.
Answer this question. They're saying economically they can't get a ROI on their investment. Tell me how is the SaaS platform going to help them to get a good return on the investment?
Yeah, actually, it's also very important that technology has always impacted. Whenever there's a new technology, since its inception, it has an impact, and that's true. So the way we are designing the technologies, from the last 10 years, what we have done, we are also trying to do a lot of research and development, right? So what we have done and where we have seen that B2C and B2B, most of the, users, let's say journalists, editor, they want something simple, they don't want like more complex stuff. The training time has to be reduced. The onboarding time, as Biju sir said, how long does it take to evaluate a system? So it relates to the onboarding time to use a solution. The training time to train a journalist to get used to it. So this has to be reduced. And to do this, what we need to do, we need to follow some open standard, open model. Like you use Trello, you don't need a training to use Trello. You use Teams, you don't need a training to use it. So we need to think in the similar fashion, and we have done it. So we have created this platform, which is Dalet Pyramid, which is very, very similar. You can simply jump in, you will be able to see what needs to be done. Journalists require very, very minimum training. And then on top of it, all the business solution, the SaaS and subscription model, they really allow you to reduce the amount of money that you have to invest at the beginning, So that's how we are doing it. And second, which is also very important, as I previously mentioned, everybody today, when deploy any system, they size for peak, which we don't have to, because this microservice, the Docker, all this technology in the back office, they allow you to scale up whenever it is needed. For example, none of the newsroom, they are producing news most of the time, like 99% of the time, they're not producing news in the night from 12 to 6, right? So the system can be stopped. You don't really need it. Most of the time, it's just a play out of whatever was produced earlier in the day. So this is where this can be the game changer, and this technology of scaling up and scaling down allow you to reduce the cost overall.
So, but what are your POCs? What have they shown? How much have costs reduced for people who are using this?
Yes, so we did some analysis and benchmarking, and when we take all those parameters, most of the cost, that goes is on the media processing. When I say media processing, because most of the time, as Vandna also said, a lot of sources coming in, different type of formats, and you have multiple delivery platforms. So you have to produce multiple formats for the multiple delivery targets. Right?
So for a country like India, multiple bit rates.
Exactly, multiple bit rates. So this is where the money goes, right? You need a processing power. But in the night, you don't need a processing power because nothing is getting distributed, right, in the night. Maybe once or twice in a month, but not always. So it's almost like if we consider all the parameters, 70% of the reduction can happen on the money, overall.
Wow. Are you excited, Biju? And Anil?
Yeah.
70% reduction, man, your profitability goes up so much.
Yeah, that's a good news. But every time you have to invest another 30%.
Every time you have to?
No, this same 30% saved. Next time again, this technology will come obsolete, and again a new technology will come.
Yeah, but that's the reality of life. That's what Moore's law is all about.
Yeah, that's
Don't you buy a new computer every 3 years, 2 years?
That's what my friend as Biju said.
But if it's 70% cheaper, you'll get your ROI quicker.
No, at what amount you are investing and what you are getting back is the question. So the BBC can afford 6 stations in India without advertisement. In India, one station cannot afford without advertisement. We have only 12,000 seconds in a day where we can have a limitation. We are a newspaper where we can print advertisement when we get extra page. So these limitations are there, and the advertisers are paid very less. So there is less revenue for that.
Raoul, that's a problem. They're saying they want to get the Raoul in the French Alps. They're saying they don't think they can get an ROI. At least Anil is saying that. I'm not sure whether Biju is saying that as yet. Biju is saying that. But he's saying he can't get an ROI. And when you upgrade the technology, this will become obsolete. You have to reinvest again. So do you have an answer for this?
Yes, I'm here, but
We can hear you.
Here we go. Indeed, this is really happening. The adoption of cloud-based infrastructure is really something that is happening. So it's happening more or less quickly depending on the regions. But effectively, there are real benefits for technologies like newsrooms to go in the cloud. And there are multiple points. Having your workforce spread all over, there is benefits with the cloud. Cloud also provides you an out-of-the-box security layer that is much easier to implement. And I guess the third point is a TCO. At the end of the day, we are looking at the overall TCO. So there is a level of functionality on the one hand, there is TCO on the other. And it's true that we can think cloud is more expensive. If I look apple to apple, I compare the price of a server on premises and in the cloud. Okay, in the cloud it's going to be more expensive. However, when you do the math, when you think that your newsroom needs to scale up, to scale down, that it's going to be on a daily base or even on a weekly base, a monthly base, a yearly base, it's going to fluctuate. And if you use only what you need, then you can do absolute great savings. So this is happening.
Yeah, what he was talking about, the upgradations in software, that it won't cost them too much when you'll
Yes,
upgrade your...
it's true. Okay, sorry, I missed that because the sound is not always so good. However, those microservice technology allows you to do what we call granular upgrades and transparent upgrades, meaning that it's not like before, we need to upgrade the entire system. and it takes some time and so on. Here, it's really you're going to upgrade this little part and that little part. I take an example. Facebook, there are several upgrades per day on Facebook. Do you see them? Never. Okay. So that's the kind of thing that we expect from technology. So we expect the upgrades to be made on a regular basis, so I can take advantage of the new functionalities. I can get the bug fix also transparently brought to me, and I want this to be not disruptive for my users. So this is what cloud technology, whether it's installed on premises or in the cloud, can bring to you, because you can do those granular upgrades.
Fantastic. So now let's have the last words. Are you, Biju, are you yes for going on the cloud and going on SaaS solutions, which allow you to save cost up to 70%? Or will you go with your legacy systems going forward?
We have a hybrid model. We are using cloud, we are using SaaS models as well. I mean, also the legacy models, it's not, I can't give an easy answer. We the regional channels have to still go with the hybrid model, because we have a lot of repositories with us, which we converted to cloud will put us in a heavy cost. Same time, whatever the new contents that are happening, especially for the digital platforms, we are using the cloud platform. So I will bat for the hybrid models.
We've actually gone onto the cloud now. We were early on cheaper servers. We've gone for AWS. We've tripled our cost because we know that that's the way to go. My company, by the way. And because my younger teams are saying, I'm obsolete. That's what they're telling me. So your answer, Anil.
So basically, definitely it's a SaaS-based system, and as Vijay said, hybrid system. But again, when it comes to India, 1 o'clock news story is not relevant at 2 o'clock. It's already dead. So where are you going to store that paper? What is the need for that? So the archives is less important in India right now as far as the news concerned.
I can assure you, in the future, your archives are going to be worth a lot of money. You can ignore that. My archives are worth a lot of money.
But we have to leave today, no?
Raoul, quickly. Raoul from Alpine, and then Rahul, and then Vandna, and then we'll call it a wrap, because I've got Namita, the lovely lady, waiting there with a gun to shoot me.
Can you repeat your question, please? I didn't get it.
Basically, what your recommendation would be, guys. There is an initial upfront. Actually, it's not an upfront investment, because anyway they have to keep upgrading their hardware. You have to buy new servers every year. They have to buy new computing machines. Processor speeds are going up. Demands of consumers are going up. Graphics quality is going up. So anyway, you're having to invest. You have to decide, what the hell are you going to do with your life? Are you going to look at a SaaS model? Storage is going up. Storage needs up. He says he doesn't want storage. I would not like to be in your shoes, Anil. I will save as much as I can of my content, and as will BBC tell you.
As far as we are concerned, we give the flexibility. Okay, so now we only sell a subscription, and SaaS is an option, so we can provide subscription up to SaaS, and it doesn't really matter for us whether we are on AWS, on Microsoft Azure, on a different cloud services, or on premises, and it can be even a hybrid solution, because very often the stuff that is coming from the field is hitting the cloud first. So there is a lot of interest in making those hybrid,
very keen on India, and you're very keen on
having said that, what we propose is usually the gaps are in the digital newsroom, and it's your way to bring more advanced workflows, and for that we propose Pyramid, and we can connect Pyramid to different environments. And then it's up to you to choose the path where you want to go later on. Do you want to change your NRCS? Do you want to improve your production? It depends on it's on a case-to-case basis.
I know, and you're very interested in the Indian market, right? You're very interested in the Indian market. That's why we got Rahul here.
Yes.
So, I heard everything, and it seems like, the cloud technology or the virtual technology is not new. First of all,
it's been here forever.
It was there, but pandemic has accelerated a lot of process. What was supposed to come in 10 years, it's like you have it in 2 years. So people are accepting it. And I truly believe that this hybrid model or the flexibility of solution, think of I always say is think of a journalist who is able to access all the backpack videos and
I see iPhone videos coming more on, or smartphone videos coming
smart,
everywhere.
yeah, whatever, all the IP feeds coming in, and they are able to write the stories while they can see the video, and they are able to do the VOs as well. And think of this sitting at home, I can do it. So that is going to be the future. I'm pretty much sure.
Vandana, your last words before, and we'll wrap it up.
I think if we are looking at a futuristic newsroom for the next couple of years, I see it as more integrated, which TV, radio, digital, more technology oriented, upskilling, not just of the technology, but upskilling of talent who are working in house as well.
You are not saying this because you're BBC with lots of money, which I don't
No,
believe at
that's-
all.
that's-
I
that's the
believe
myth I've
BBC
been-
is.
That's myth I've been hearing all along.
Yeah.
There's a lot of money. I mean, recently, all I've heard, obviously, there have been savings that have to be made by the BBC. That's not true.
Yeah, so they have to actually beg for money a lot of the time, and they have to get a right advertising model, monetization models. They have to come up with subscription models, and so therefore not everyone has money. The BBC doesn't have endless pots of money.
A good lesson to learn from India for BBC.
That they should go hybrid. They should go backwards. No, they won't. They'll only go forwards. But thank you very much, all of you all. I think it's
Thank
been
you
an
all.
interesting discussion. I hope you all guys benefited from this, and it was useful for you all. Thank you, all of you all. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you so much, all of you, all our honorable and esteemed speakers who are on stage. Can we please request you to please stay back for a photo op session? And also would like Mr. Vanwari to please give away a token of appreciation to all our esteemed guests after the photo op session is done. Thank you so much, Raoul and Biju, for your valuable time you gave us. Although we miss your presence here, but thank you that you have made it virtually for us once again. We are really honored to have you here in the discussion.
Thank you so much, and we look forward.
May I request
look
Mr.
forward
Vanwari to
see
please give away a
some
token
of
of
you at
appreciation.
IBC in
Oh, wow.
Amsterdam. Thank you.
Thank you so much, everyone, once again for making it such a powerful and wonderful session, and especially Mr. Vanwari, who always have wonderful set of questions, and he always make it so energetic with all his charm, his aura, and his energy. Such a powerful session it was. Thank you, sir.